Hi everyone, welcome back to Michelle Reads and Vlogs, and today we are doing my reading wrap up for March and April. And you might already have noticed that there are not many books, which is exactly why I've put these 2 months together. There was no point in me filming a March reading wrap up when I only read 2 books. There was no point in me filming an April reading wrap up when I only read 2 books. It's safe to say that the slump has been real. I've not been reading very much. A lot has been going on, I should say, so kind of like mentally my brain just hasn't had space for reading. But we're coming out of all of that now and I'm feeling much better. And I'm actually in May, so today is the 7th of May as I'm filming this. I've already finished 3 books in May and I'm like halfway through the next one. So May is already shaping up to be far better. And I think that's, real testament to the fact that my head is in a much better place now. So that's good. So let's talk through these 4 books, because even though there are only 4, actually they're all really good. They were really good books. So really happy with all of them and happy to talk through what I read. So the first book that I completed back in March was The Star and the Strange Moon by Constance Sawyers. This was one of the books that I found in my Birmingham Come Book Shopping With Me vlog, and I was so happy to pick it up, and I literally read it within a couple of days of getting it home. So this one, we are following our girl. She's called Gemma, I think Gemma Turner, and it is back in the 60s, 1968, that she is this movie star. She's in France shooting this is it a horror movie? I can't remember, but she's shooting a movie and basically she disappears. And what happens is she disappears into the movie. Flash forward years later, and then we've got the chap who is Christopher Kent, and he is a film student and he becomes really interested in this whole story of Gemma Turner, her disappearance, the film, what happened to her. It's become a bit of a cult. Every 10 years they show the film to a select group of people who have to be a member of this group to be able to go and see it. They're all anonymous, they wear masks whilst they're in there, and he becomes obsessed with the fact that every time they see the film, every 10 years, it changes slightly. And there's new footage in there that was not there before. And some of it is like really bizarre. Like it couldn't have been filmed. It would have been impossible. And I just loved this. So it is obviously fantasy bordering on horror. Like there are horror elements to it. But what I would say is, as a person who is not a fan of horror, I went to see, what's the film called? Where Final Destination. I went to see Final Destination when I was quite young. I think I was like 14, 15. It was my older sister's birthday. And after a big chunk of it, I ran out of the cinema crying. Like I couldn't stand watching that film. And since then, horror's just not been my thing. I don't read it. I don't watch it. I almost, when I do see bits of it, I laugh. That's like my way of coping to not be scared. I laugh at a lot of things that are meant to be scary. But actually I didn't find the horror in this. I wouldn't classify it as horror. I think it was very much more on the subtle side and to go into kind of the side of the fantasy story. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I really got into it. I did give it 4 stars, really good, but not necessarily like the best book I've ever read. If I remember correctly, I kind of loved the first 3 quarters, and then just the end of the book just slowed down that little bit, and the way it was kind of resolved, I didn't find as satisfying as I thought I would with how hooked I was in the first 3 quarters of the book. But yeah, overall enjoyed this one and would also recommend Constance Sawyers. I have read another one of hers, A Witch in Time, which I really enjoyed. There's a third one which I haven't read but would be interested in. Where is the list where they normally put it? Oh, there it is. The Ladies of the Secret Circus. So yeah, might pick that up and give it a go at some point. But yeah, I do think she's a good author and think that she's quite underrated. Not a lot of people have heard of her, but yeah, good. Okay, so the second and final book that I read in March was Spy Family Volume 3. So difficult to talk about the individual points of each story, but overall this is a manga series. We follow Lloyd, who is what is his job? He is... the mom's the assassin, the daughter's the telepath, Lloyd, the dad, is an undercover agent. There we go. He's an undercover agent, and he is on this mission where the person he needs to get close to is very reclusive, and the only way he can get close to this person is via the person's child, who is in this very elite private school. So he adopts this child, Anya, to be a part of the mission without knowing that she's a telepath. But of course, he's a secret agent, and because she's a telepath, she knows that about him, but he doesn't know that about her. And then it turns out that to get into the school, you have to look like you're a part of the perfect family. So enter the wife, who is on the cover of this one. She is called... what is she called? I've completely gone. Honestly, my memory at the moment is terrible. I've even read volume 4 of this month, so it's been really recent, but yeah, I just have a really bad short-term memory. Your Forger. So and she is like this lady who hasn't got a husband, and everyone's like, what's wrong with her? Why hasn't she got married or got a boyfriend? And yeah, so she basically finds him. They go along with it, and he doesn't know that she is actually an assassin. She doesn't know that he is a secret agent. She doesn't know the daughter is a telepath, but of course, because the daughter's a telepath, she knows that the mom is an assassin. And they just make this really cute family together. And it does sound like it should be a mental story. It should be crazy, but actually it's so cute, it's so fun, it's so kind of witty. And it's the only manga series I've ever read, but I'm really enjoying it. As I said, I've actually done number 4 now in May. And yeah, I'm really keen to get into the next one. I think there's 10 in total. But I'm pretty sure I gave that a 5. I'll just double check. Yeah, I gave that 5 stars. Yeah, really enjoyed it. I just said I double check. I actually looked at number 4 then. Got my Goodreads open because, as I said, bad short-term memory. So yeah, 5-star read for all of this series as a whole. So coming into April, we have A Feather So Black by Lyra Selene. I actually got an e-arc of this on NetGalley, so I started it far before April, and I just felt like the first third of this book, maybe even to a half, was so difficult to get into. And that might have been part me because of my reading slump, but I found it very slow, not a lot interesting happening. I wasn't really engaged with the characters or the story. And then halfway to 2/3 in, something switched. And again, that might have just been me coming out of that reading slump, but I started to become interested. I think I've heard other people say this as well, so I don't think it's just me. And then the last kind of third of the book, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. I wouldn't say it's the best book ever. As I said, I wasn't kind of like reaching for it and thinking, I need to read this book. I read it over quite a few weeks. But in the end, I enjoyed it. Actually thought the ending was pretty good. I liked the way that it was all kind of brought together and what happened, the direction it took. So kind of the opposite of The Star and the Strange Moon, interestingly. But yeah, I really enjoyed the ending, the way that it was all put together, the characters, what happened to them all. So I ended up giving this one a 3-star, which on my scale, 3-star is good. I liked it, but I'm not gonna stand here and say to everyone, oh, you should go out and read this and have a look at this one. But I think for some people, they will enjoy it. Fantasy, Swan Lake retelling. I haven't talked about the synopsis. I'm so sorry. So what happens is we have the girl, not Ela, that's the sister. What's the first girl called? Fia. So there's 2 female main characters and 2 male main characters. Most of it is focused on Fia. She is a changeling, so it's all about kind of different fair folk. And what happened is the queen's daughter in the human realm was kidnapped at an early age. I think she was about 6 or 8 or something, and Fia was left in her place. It turns out the queen's daughter, the princess Ela, was taken to this other fair folk realm, and she was cursed to be a swan maiden. So I'm pretty sure that that's Ela and that's Fia, I think. So along with 11 others who were taken from their families in the human realm. So Fia and the Prince Rogan, who was betrothed to Ela from a very young age, basically go to try and break the curse, rescue her, and bring her home, and then Rogan can obviously marry Ela and live happily ever after. But there's issues to this. They can only get through the gateway into this other realm every full moon, so it literally takes part over like a year or something, because they can only go over once a month, and then the rest of the time they're in this kind of place together. There is a bit of a love square, kind of, because Fia and Rogan are kind of in love, and they were from a young age, but obviously Rogan is betrothed to Ela, and then there is the guardian of the gate and the maidens of Irian, and Fia and likes Irian, but then I goes, there's no other kind of side to the square, so I kind of guess it's like a love C shape. I don't know, there's a lot going on. There is romance in this as well, which I'm not sure if it really added to the story or detracted from it. Like, there was one point where Fia met Irian, and basically he's about to kill her, and she's just like, oh my gosh, he's so hot, like, look at his body, and oh my, and all of this, and I'm like, is this for real? This person is about to murder you. And all you can think is how good looking they are. And I actually laughed out loud at that bit. That was kind of in the part where I still wasn't into it. It definitely progressed and my interest got more. But yeah, so I don't think this is going to be for everyone. But if you like Fae and Fae folk, yeah, give it a go. It was okay. It was okay. I would definitely say, if you're interested in the synopsis, if you've got a copy of it, give it a go. If you're not that interested, I wouldn't bother. But the other side of this, we have A Tempest of Tea by Hafsah Faizal. Again, I had an e-arc of this from NetGalley, so thank you very much to NetGalley for the e-arcs and to the publishers for allowing me to read these books early. This book I was so into. It's so fast-paced, grabbed my interest from the very beginning. A lot happening, but not too complicated. So what we've got is our girl. I've completely forgotten her name. Where is there a synopsis here? I don't know if there is one. I always find this so strange when this happens. It's more their names. I can tell you about the story, but I cannot remember their names. R3, because I forgot. I struggled to pronounce it the first time. R3. So she is the main girl. She has this brother who is like a brother not by blood, and they own a tea room where in the day they sell tea, and at night it turns into a blood house for vampires. It's set in like an otherworld historic London, and they have to basically save the tea room. So they have to go on this heist. They get a band of kind of misfits together, and we learn all about this group of people and how they interact with one another and how they go about trying to save the tea room, because it's their life, their home, their family. I forgot what I was saying about like the interest, but how it just grabbed me, and I loved it. It was very kind of Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, but just different. Yeah, not quite as kind of edgy as Six of Crows. It is YA and it does read like YA. I really enjoyed it. The issue with it, because I was reading it on an e-arc, which is an electronic copy of the book, I was 2/3 of the way through and my copy corrupted. I'd left it a little bit late to apply for it, to get it, to start reading it, and I couldn't re-download it. So I was stuck on page, I've not left the bookmark in anymore because I had to physically read the rest of this copy when I got it from Fairy Loot, but I was stuck on like page 200 and I didn't pick it back up for like a month because I didn't get this copy from Fairy Loot, and I was like, I can't buy a normal copy of it. I didn't have a lot of money just to go and spend on a copy of a book I knew I was getting in a book box anyway. So I had to wait to read the last part of the book. And in a way, it kind of, you know, it kept me gripped and on that suspense because I was like, oh, I'm so excited to read the end of this. And yeah, it did not disappoint. I really enjoyed the end. There is going to be a book 2. Just seeing if there was a number 1 on there. There isn't. And Hafsah Faizal has just released the name of it. I've completely forgotten, but yeah, I will be getting the sequel. I was about to say prequel, sequel. But yeah, really enjoyed it. So, oh, and I forgot to say, oh no, I did say star ratings for those. So Tempest of Tea, I'm pretty sure I gave 5 stars. I'm just going to double check. Yeah, 5 stars, absolutely. So not too bad. 4 stars, 5 stars, 3 stars, 5 stars. Yeah, not too bad at all. So even though I did not have a kind of quantity of reading over March and April, definitely quality. And the other thing I did notice when I put these together before sitting down to film this is that they're all fantasy. And I don't know if it's because I've kind of been forcing myself to read a lot of fantasy. I'm not sure. Like I say, the slumps come from a variety of different reasons, but I have read a couple of non-fantasy books so far this month, and I'm really enjoying them. And I should probably mention the one that I did kind of carry over into May. It was another e-arc from NetGalley, and that was The Love of My Afterlife by Kirsty Greenwood. And I've now finished this, but I did start it in April. This book is so witty. It kept me so much kind of interested, and it's one of those books that can like make you laugh, make you cry, make you smile. Oh, yeah, really fun, a really fun read. And I would say if you're struggling with a reading slump, The Love of My Afterlife was a great one. I don't think it actually comes out until June, but I think it's going to be, or I hope it's going to be a big book because I kind of think it deserves it. It was really good. I think if you like really good, actually, I'd say this was kind of more contemporary, whereas The Love of My Afterlife was kind of contemporary mixed in with a bit of fantasy, mixed in with a bit of romance, but the wit was very similar, like that humour that the character has. And the other one is like Big Swiss, very kind of similar wit to that. But again, Big Swiss is like a book all of its own. But anyway, so I'm going to stop talking here. I hope that you have all had better March and April reading months than me. But let me know if you've got any kind of recommendations of books that have helped you to get out of a slump. Because I'm still very much just taking it step at a time. I'm not sure if I'm going to make a TBR. I mean, I've even got the books that I put on my March TBR. I put them behind me and they've just stayed there. I think I moved Vicious. I don't think I even opened Vicious. It's just on my bedside table. But otherwise, that was my March TBR. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do a TBR or not. But yeah, let me know if there's any books that have ever really got you out of a slump or you think would be good for getting out of a slump. And I might give them a go. Anyway, if you're interested in any of the books mentioned in this video, I will leave affiliate links for them down in the description. That means that you don't pay any extra, but I do make a small commission off the sale, so that really helps me and the channel out. Other ways to support me and the channel, the biggest way is just to hit that like button. It means so much to me. If you could hit it on the way out, if you've not done so already, thank you very much. And subscribe if you want to see more bookish content from me. Otherwise, have a good rest of your day, wherever you are, whatever you're up to, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.